Monica Martinez and David Felip from Spain, the world champions from 1999, which are very well known for their brilliant Thai technique and which are also the world record holders for the most rotations with Thai still today. This is their world record performance. So take a close look at one of the most important details and aspects for the base in this acrobatic, which is the active part in this acrobatic, whereas in the lane, I was talking a lot about this in my video about the lane, the girl is the active part, especially for a rolling technique. And with Thai, David once said in an interview, the most important part for the base is to keep the rotation flowing. So you have to be very fast after the first rotation has finished. So take a close look at that, and I will always come back to this aspect, because if you will lose one single centimeter of height, you will not create a good flowing transition and a good flowing rotation. And you can see this with many couples. Okay, let's take a closer look at this brilliant and unique technique of Monica and David, and directly start with the position of her legs. The position of her legs is really wide. She's nearly in a split position, and the most interesting thing is the position of her arm. Her arm is not really fixed, which is giving her a lot of space around the neck, around his neck, for the rotation. But in order not to slip out, she's in that wide position with her legs, and he is really working hard and try to be very early there after the first rotation, so that you have a really constant flowing transition. And if you look at the point where the rotation is taking place at her body, it is a bit lower than you will see with some other couples. It is a perfectly working and synchronized system, for sure in the top 3 of the most beautiful and most brilliant Thai techniques of all time. Let's move to Olga Sbitneva and Ivan Yudin, 5 times world champions and absolute legend of the sport, trying to break the world record for the most rotations with Thai from Monica and David, and they got very close with 49 rotations. Monica and David did 50, so the world record stayed at Monica and David. So now we are coming to one very interesting aspect with Thai. In my video about the lane, I've shown you a huge variety of techniques and a lot of couples, around 20. With Thai, I think it's a bit different. You know, of course, you see a huge variety in the way the lane is performed, but I believe with a good technique for Thai is always moving into the same direction. There is not so much variety, and you can see with the good couples, I have 3 couples which I would say these are the best Thai techniques of all time. First is Monica Martinez and David Felip. The second is Darina Kozlova and Alexey Kondrashin, and Olga Sbitneva and Ivan Yudin. And at the end of the video, I will show you my own technique with my former partner, which is formed out of these 3 couples. Let's take a closer look at the technique of Olga and Ivan. And you can see her leg position is a bit closer than the position with Monica and David, and her arm is in a bit of different position, but in general, the techniques are very similar. You can see Ivan is working very good also. He's creating a constant flow and putting his shoulder down after the first rotation, which is very important to give her the room for the rotation. And yeah, I believe in general, a good Thai technique is moving towards the same criteria. Let's not forget the beautiful and unique combination Svetlana Bashilova and Dmitry Ionov, he's the coach of Olga and Ivan, did out of tie. And you can see the technique basically is very different. He's creating a constant flow, very beautiful tie. Darina Kozlova и Alexey Kondrashin, probably the fastest tie of all time. I've seen them at the World Championship 2017 in Lyon, where they had this mistake with the first acrobatic and they were really pushing it at the end. And what is interesting about their technique is Darina manages it to stay completely straight over the whole rotation. Her body is completely fixed, no part is moving. And what is interesting, their rotation point is higher than all the other couples. So she's really rotating under the shoulder. And you can see she's putting pressure against the inner side of her leg, of her legs. And you can see he's also putting his shoulders down very well, giving her the room for the rotation. And they creating a unbelievably high speed, which is only possible because Darina has this beautiful and very good position. It's a very well balanced system, and um, probably the best Thai technique we can see in acrobatic rock and roll at the moment. And like I said before, these are basically the three best working techniques: Monica Martinez, David Felip, Darina Kozlova, Alexey Kondrashin, and Olga Sbitneva and Ivan Yudin. And I believe when you put these three techniques together or performing one of these techniques, you have the perfect tie. If you take a closer look at other good working systems of tie, you can see, for example, Michel Uhl and Tobias Bludau, the technique is very similar to what Olga and Ivan are doing. Or Maketa Hilgarova and Radek Verchak, they also have a similar technique. So it's basically moving towards the same direction. Sandra Shudomska and Witezslav Horak, they have a special tool, a special technique to make the rotation more fast. Um, she's pushing with her one leg towards the rotation axis, so the legs come very close. And this is a beautiful technique and um, probably one of the fastest Thai rotations we have seen. And I think it's always great to see some innovation and variety in the sport. Now for the end, I will show you what we made out of this. Because with my former dancing partner, um, we had most of the time no coach. So we were analyzing the videos of Monica Martinez, David Felip, um, Olga Sbitneva and Ivan Yudin, and Darina Kozlova and Alexey Kondrashin, and putting these influences together to create our own technique. And I believe we did a good job there because um, we are actually we were actually the same height. So in order to create that speed of rotation, um, without a good technique, it would not be possible. Now I will give some general advice to optimize your tie technique, and I will also come to some preparation steps and how to start. Well, first of all, I see a lot of bases are not working well. I said this before, it is very important to create a constantly flowing rotation. And this also means that you have to use equally both arms. I see a lot of men only working with one arm, but the second arm is also very important because you hold the girl in that position. And if you only have one arm, it makes it much harder for the girl to be in a good position. The first point, which is key for the girl is to have the perfect position from the beginning on, because if you don't have the perfect position in the very first beginning, you will not get back into this position. And this is a thing I see with many couples. They really start out of a really bad position, and so I recommend to train this with that the girl stands on the floor and you lift her up and she's already in the perfect position. And when she has learned to stay in that position, you can make a much better transition out of the lane, for example. Okay, I really feel like this is key part in general. Look at me now. Now I'm completely relaxed, in completely relaxed position. So now I go up like this. So I have a bit more tension in this area, but now the under part of your belly, if I really put pressure in here, now I'm completely straight. And for tie, it is very important that all parts from the girl are like this. You have this part is completely fixed, the legs are completely fixed, and otherwise you will get into large trouble. So if you see it from this angle, it is important to put some pressure inside. And by this preparing step, you can create a feeling for the girl how the position should look like in the rotation. Like in every acrobatic, the beginning, the entrance to the acrobatic is absolute key. And it is very important to make sure that the girl is in the perfect position from the very beginning on. If this is not the case, it will never be a good acrobatic. Go through every step in your mind, watch videos and get a really understanding what is happening at what time, and go through all the important steps. How is the position of the girl? Is the girl in a good position? The goal is it for the base to create the maximum speed in the shortest amount of time, so that your shoulder can come down, that the girl has the room for the rotation, but at the same point you have to be very fast there for the next rotation. This is the key thing. The rotation has to be in a constant flow, and in order to create that, you need a clear understanding about every step in the movement. If you look at it from the side angle, you can see when my arms are down, she has the room for the rotation. She's flowing all the time. She's all the way in the moving position, and the only task of the base is to keep the rotation rolling. Go through some key steps shortly. So now her position is great. I lift her up and I swing her first to the other side to create speed for the rotation. Now the rotation is starting. And here we can see some differences for the couples. For example, you can see her rotation point is in the middle of the body. This is like, for example, with Michelle Uhl and Tobias Bluder, Olga Sbitneva and Ivan Yudin are doing this. Like I mentioned before, Darina Kozlova, Alexey, Kondrashin, she's really rotating on a higher point there. Her rotation point is really under her arm. Creating speed in the shortest amount of time. Put your arms down really to give her the room. Let's look at it from the side angle. You can see my arms are down. Now she has room for the rotation, and I immediately try to be back with both arms and getting her for the next rotation and not losing height. This is one very important aspect.
Bulungani mulandi hafanana hambana kukanela shalalala bulungani mulandi hafanana hambana kukanela shalalala wenana mina hafanana hambana kukanela shalalala wenana mina hafanana hambana kukanela shalalala. Hey, what can you do? Bulungu hafanana, what can you do?